be here today with Dr. Professor David Greenfield, the current president of the CIWM. But I was looking on your LinkedIn, and you also have quite a few other titles. Let me rattle some of them off. So we've got Managing Director of Sonex.
Yes.
Sonex or Sonex?
Sonex.
Sonex. Co-founder of Tech Take Back.
Yeah.
Founding partner at ETSA and non-exec director at Biome. Vice president of the CEI. Impressive. Many titles. How are you finding the time to do all of that?
I think when you're passionate about a topic, you make the time.
True.
And I'm passionate about waste management and circular economy and have been since university.
Yeah.
I've got a PhD in waste management. So,
how did you fall into it in university?
Do you know, it's one of those things, one of those sliding doors moments. So I was actually doing a dissertation in renewable energy in the third world in 1996. Organised a nice big trip to Uganda. And my lecturer said to me, you can still go and do that. You don't need to do your dissertation. I've got a dissertation for you when you get back, looking at inputs to a landfill site in Sussex. I went, 6 weeks in Uganda working hard or just doing enough?
Site.
Yeah. So I had a nice time in Uganda, went travelling and then came back and sat on a landfill site in November in East Sussex in the freezing cold. But that's what started waste.
Wow. Well, today we're not at a landfill site.
No.
We're actually at the ESS
We're close
Expo.
to one.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, there's one just across the road.
I should know that.
You should.
Do you know who operates it?
Suez.
I will be chatting to
You
them
can
later.
you can
I'll
ask Stuart
speak to
later.
Stuart, yeah. But I think the doors opened about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be here? And is this your first ESS? I would assume not.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So having been in this sector for a while, this is an iteration of multiple different things. So I think ESS as a title has been 3 years, is it?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, so I've been to all three of those. Prior to that was RWM. Prior to that was CIWM. When we were down in Torbay, we've been at the Excel.
I think it was Letsrecycle Live
yes,
at one point as well.
Yes, I've been to all of them. We were just speaking to one of your team, and I think I launched one of my projects in 2007 at CIWM in Torbay, which was the Waste Information Network. 18 years ago. That makes me feel very old.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about that.
So we were running a national programme of support for local governments, funded by DEFRA, and DEFRA had funded loads of local authorities to do consultancy reports on how to get better recycling. This is when everybody was at 15-20% recycling. And we said to them, can we take those consultancy reports, review them, and then share them online? And DEFRA went, yeah. So we did. There was something like 70 of them. And we went back to DEFRA and said, this company's charged you 4 times for the same report and changed the name. This company's done that. I got into a lot of trouble with quite a few consultants, but I was in the good books of another bunch who were going, we want to go and do good work rather than just churn. So that established a network for 5 years, led to the Waste Network chairs.
And it had a huge uptake amongst local authorities.
We had 98% local authorities in the UK registered and using it. We were running monthly events. We were doing newsletters, and we then led things like the joint procurement of bins for 2011, the pickles money, did a lot of advice on procurement, and it was all under the efficiency banner.
Right. Okay, well, moving on to some of the stuff you're actually working on now. So you are about a quarter of the way through your presidency at the CIWM.
It's quite scary.
Quite scary.
Quick.
How has it gone?
It's going brilliantly.
Yeah.
It's such an honour to be president of such an institution. My role is to represent the members. We've got some brilliant members in the CIWM. And I think we've had the summer. We had my presidential inauguration.
It was fantastic.
It's a bit warm.
Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah.
It was very warm.
It was one of those 36 degree, 32 degree days. Yeah.
But I was really pleased to be able to get my presidential report out, which is Lost Opportunities.
Which you'll be presenting later today.
I am presenting that later today at the Fellows Lunch, CIWM Fellows Lunch. But for me, that's coming back to your original question. Why am I in this and why do I do so many things? Circular economy is about understanding the materials that are around us and capturing them in the best possible way. And that's what we tried to show with this report. 6 materials from the technical and the biological side. Bit of a state of the nation of each of them. What's happening to them currently, how they manage, how they processed, what does good look like around the world, and what might the future look like.
Some of them aren't your usual materials. If I remember correctly, one of them is seashells.
Seashells.
Yeah.
Seashells, fascinating material. If you were to extrapolate the report down to a single sentence, seashells are probably the building base of most of the biomaterials we're going to use in the future.
Okay, wow.
So you can extract chitosan from them, which is one of the necessary ingredients for biomaterials. It's not everything. You can use seaweed as well. But so yeah, we picked some materials which people know. Tin. I have had so many people go, "Oh, why did you pick tin cans?" And I go, "Well, firstly, we don't have tin cans anymore. We have aluminium cans." But tin makes up pretty much every electrical device we have in this world. It's the solder that's used on the printed circuit boards. So it's also a rare earth metal. You've got gallium, which is again within devices. It's part of the LCD and screens. And then lithium, which EVs, but vapes and all sorts of. So did all of that, and then we went on the bio side. So we had wool. Wool is one of those materials which everyone just goes, 20% of it is thrown away every year at the moment.
Wow.
So yeah, seashells, and then cooking oil.
Yeah,
Cooking.
that's a big one.
It's a big one, and it's a really interesting one because there's a lot of work being done across Europe and the UK of capturing it, but it's only from commercial premises.
Right.
So there's no capture from householders. It's going to be an interesting one over the next few years with the move to air fryers. Does cooking oil reduce in the householder? But yes, so that one was also picked because of.
Well, there's a big focus there, I think, aside from the seashells and the cooking oil and the wool, on we.
Exactly.
Which I think connects quite well to your work at Tech Take Back.
Yes.
Where you are, let me double check, co-founder.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a bit about what you're doing at Tech Take Back?
Yeah, very much so. So Tech Take Back is what it says on the tin. We take back tech from householders and from SMEs. And I claim this, if anybody wants to counter this claim, please do. We launched the world's first on-demand collection service for household electricals in 2020. So residents of Brighton and Hove were able to download the app we're working with, the ZeroNet, and request a collection. And we got inundated. We've collected from over 10,000 householders now.
And you've expanded beyond Brighton?
Yeah, so we're running projects in London. We started off collecting small electricals, and that was what our funding was for. But we did start off as a tech reuse service. And we've stepped back from toasters, kettles, and microwaves because, frankly, all of the ones we were picking up, they were just fit for recycling. So we're back onto tech, but more importantly,
When you say tech, it's laptops, it's mobile phones, iPads.
Exactly. We'll take peripherals as well, servers, and what we do is data raise them to government standard, which is the absolutely important thing, and that was where Tech Take Back came from. Householders have got a drawer full of doom, and most of them have concerns about what happens to them when they put them to the tip or to a charity. So we set up the service to give them confidence that it would be data raised. So a raise to government standards. And then we would, of course, secondary, then look at how can we reuse those. So we've been doing that since 2016 when we launched. And we're now working with some quite large companies to take their tech. And then what we're also now doing is quantifying the social benefit of what happens to those devices. So as a quick example, we had a reuse shop on the high street in Brighton for 2 years. We had a couple of homeless people sitting outside, and about a year and a half into us being there, we gave one of the homeless guys a refurbished laptop with Windows 10 on it, all ready to go, good spec. So it was including them in the digital world.
Yeah.
Didn't see him for 7 or 8 months. And on the last day, on the day we shut the shop, he came up to us and said, "You're not going to see me again. Not because you're closing, but because your laptop enabled me to get in touch with my daughter, who I hadn't seen for 10 years. She helped me write a CV on my laptop. That CV got me a job. And using my laptop, I then applied for housing and got local authority housing. So I'm now no longer homeless. I've got a job and I'm back in touch with my daughter." And that's a lovely, lovely story, but I'm also a stats person. So we had to quantify what that does. So part of what we do, and there's a report that got funded by CIWM that we launched last year, is measure the social impact of that. So we keep a track of those individuals. So that individual themselves created a social value of £47,000. That's tax because it got a new job, not costing the authority for homeless work, those sorts of things. So there's government metrics that allow you to quantify that.
Brilliant.
And so we've last year we got 750 people out of digital exclusion and generated a social value of £19 million.
That's brilliant, David. Wow. Well, we could definitely stay on this topic for a while
long
longer.
time, yes.
But I want to chat to you a bit about the work you're doing with the Circular Economy Task Force,
Yes.
because that is also incredibly impressive.
It is, yes.
It's been about 10 months
Yes.
since the task force started. What are you most proud of having achieved or worked on in that time?
We haven't achieved anything yet because we haven't actually got the consultation out, but that is imminent with all sorts of things going on with politicians, but it's still imminent. But I think for me it's a really interesting new way of writing a strategy. So I've already talked to you about some of my previous work, local government director, working in local government for 15 years before starting Sonex. Through Sonex, we actually wrote the Brighton Hove, the West Midlands, the Lincolnshire and the Canary Wharf circular economy route maps. Some with partners like Useful Projects and Metro Dynamics. But actually creating a national programme, a national strategy, is a different kettle of fish. So when DEFRA said that they were going to put a task force together to co-design and co-write the strategy, that was really exciting, because I remember back in the early 2000s where we were having DEFRA officials saying, "This is what you're going to do and do not argue with us." So 20 years later, we're in a place where we're co-developing a strategy. And a lot of people don't realise the amount of time that task force members have put in. So I'm currently doing about a day and a half to 2 days a week on the task force. We have engaged with over 1,000 organisations. We've got sector working groups, so there's 6 sector route maps: built environments, textiles, agri-food, transport, electricals, and we've got one other which is textiles. Yes.
I mean, it's brilliant. I imagine it's hugely time consuming. And later today, you will appear on a panel
Indeed.
to discuss the work you're doing. What questions are you preempting from the audience for this session?
I suspect we're probably going to get asked, how ambitious is it going to be? What are the big things that are going to come out of it? Now, unfortunately, we're not being able to answer that for 2 reasons. One, it's still in final development, so we have a very good idea of what we want to put in there, but it's also going to be a consultation. So it's not going to be, this is what we are telling you to do. It's, this is what we think we should do. Give us your evidence as to why we should. And we want it to be a positive consultation. So it's not people looking at the consultation going, right, you've put these 10 things in on a single sector route map, we're going to knock them all off. It's how can we actually achieve them? How can we deliver them? But it's broad in its nature. So it's looking at voluntary measures. It's looking at whether or not we need to use fiscal measures, things like VAT and tax, regulatory. It's also looking at the role of government and government leaders, both government levers, both national and local. So procurement. huge opportunity to embed circularity through government procurement.
Staying with circularity, and I think the final question probably.
Yes.
Amongst all your other titles, you are also a visiting professor.
There's a few out.
At the University of Brighton.
Yes.
And a few other universities.
I lecture at a couple of other universities as well, yes.
At Brighton, you focus on the circular economy. So I guess my final question to you is, how do we go about engaging the younger generation on the circular economy and instilling those principles into their lives?
I think it's building on what they already know. So they're already excited about things like recycling. If you look at, this makes me, the youth of today, I sound so old, platforms like Depop and Vinted and eBay are all, that's the natural home for purchasing. That's all circular economy. That's reuse in its best form. That's extending the life of existing products. And people get that. They go, well, why should we go and buy something new when there's a perfectly good resource which is probably better quality out there? So that's one of the elements of circular economy, and that's a really important one to be able to help people understand that that is part of the circular economy. But some of the bigger and broader elements of the circular economy and what we've been doing through the university. So my role at the university is to essentially be cross-sectoral and to introduce the concept of circular economy and life cycle thinking. So it's a very, very, very simple premise. We extract stuff out of the ground, we then make stuff with them, but somebody has to design that. Then we use them, and then it comes to end of life or end of use. That's the same for this jacket, this table, that can. Yep. Everything has gone through that process. So it's not a sectoral only topic. So I teach life cycle thinking. I teach how do we design for disassembly? How do we design for reuse? How do we design for extension of life? And that goes across engineering, that goes across fashion. I actually teach at a fashion school as well.
Look at you. You look quite, with the medal.
With the medal, yes. The medal. The bling. I don't think my colleague would go, they'd probably say fashion is about individual choice. But fundamentally, circular economy is about life cycle thinking. Yeah. It's about systems thinking and understanding where you are in that system. So if you're an engineer, you'll probably be working with a designer who has designed something for you to make. And if the two of you don't speak, you're not achieving extension of life.
Falls down, yeah.
We work with the International Facilities Management Association, which is essentially the people that keep buildings clean, they maintain them, they do all the lifts, all of the servicing. It's a huge part of the circular economy because they're the people that are extending the life of stuff that's already there. So when we talk about circular economy, I talk from two perspectives. Legacy, which is stuff that's already here. So everything in this hall, including this hall, we can't redesign. We can't do some of the things that we can if we're designing something new. So the second part is then, how do we design new stuff for a circular economy?
Well, I think as an industry, we're really used to talking about design for recyclability.
Yes.
And I think we need to, listening to you here, I think we need to move away from that towards design for circularity.
Absolutely.
This is the language we need to use. Thank you so much, David.
Not a problem
at all.
I really appreciate
it. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.